Hey everybody. Um, Decided I was going to do a thing, kind of out of my comfort zone. Figured I would kind of document this whole process. Um, that starts today. Today is Sunday, the 22nd. Yes, that's correct. Uh, just figured if nothing else, it's a way to keep you guys informed. Also, a little bit of way for myself to get some therapeutic talk, uh, get things out. Um, Hi, sweet dog, please. No, thank you. Um, but the biggest thing is just a way to kind of keep you guys informed of the process. Don't know how much I'm going to try to do this. We'll probably try to do it at least every treatment, a couple days after, just to give you guys an update on how I feel. If nothing else, I figured this first one would be kind of just a state of things, kind of how things started. Not sure how many of y'all know how all this came about. So right after Christmas, I believe the 27th or 28th, was putting together a bed for my son Emmett. Got super duper dizzy about 9:30. Could not get the room to quit spinning. Decided it was time to go to the ER. Went to the ER. They did tests and everything on that. Did some X-rays, CTs, all the fun stuff they normally do when you get checked in. That's how they found the mass on my colon, and then I also have two smaller masses in my lungs and around the lymph nodes around the colon, to where the cancer has obviously metastasized. So, long story short, it is stage 4 colon cancer. That is what I was diagnosed with. Um, was in the hospital basically over New Year's, I believe, like I said, from the 27th or 28th till I think the 2nd or 3rd is when I was released. Kind of had a plan. At the time, we didn't know if we had insurance or not. Kelly was working on that through work. And so we kind of had a couple different plans. We were going to start with JPS, obviously, lower cost option, free for the most part, based off what I was approved for. Lo and behold, due to everybody's prayers and thoughts, we ended up getting insurance through Kelly's work. So I've decided to go with Texas Oncology, which luckily for me is right here by the house. Less than a half a mile, makes this whole ordeal much easier. So that's kind of the reason we chose that. JPS was fantastic. I would advise anybody to go there if they don't have another option. Everybody we dealt with there was fantastic. As far as how I got here, didn't really have many symptoms as far as anything that would be related to colon cancer. Even according to the doctors, when I talked to them about it, yeah, like the first things I started noticing were September-ish, and it wasn't anything major. And so they kind of all understood why, you know, I let it go. But anyway, we're here. Um, First treatment's Wednesday. Looking forward to it. Ready to get started. To give you guys an idea of what's going to happen, I may actually call this series, I'm not sure, I've been kind of banging around a couple names. I may call it the Ballad of Poor Trisha and Colin. Colin is the name that all 5 of our children came to consensus to name the tumor. There was another name that I'm not going to mention here that our lovely next to youngest Mason came up with. You can imagine if you know Mason at all. And then Portricia obviously is the port that I have here for right there. Sorry, I'm so used to it now. For all the accessing for chemo, blood draws, anything that they need to do, they can actually do through that port, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty amazing piece of technology, to be honest. But the chemo I'm going to be getting is going to be 4 parts. It's the standard of care. I'm actually also part of a clinical trial. So what will happen when I go in Wednesday, I'll get 3 parts of the chemo there at the office, and then the 4th part goes home with me for 48 hours. I'll basically have a little pump. If you've ever seen the nerve block people get after a surgery, the little plastic ball, it'll be something similar to that. And then I'll go get that unhooked on Friday. So that will be my course of action and standard care for the next 6 months. That's kind of going to be the process. The days may move, obviously, depending on schedules, but that's kind of what's going to happen. Like I said, this is something I wanted to do. Just helps me talk about it. Kelly may be on here some. probably going to try to do some stuff while we're actually at the office to show you guys the process. I think most of you might find it interesting. If nothing else, it gives you some insight. So if you ever do have to deal with something like this, you kind of know what to walk into. So far, it's not as scary as I thought it would be. I had my moment of being scared and being mad and frustrated and angry. And once that was over, it's just become, let's put our head down and go. And if you know me, that's how I am. I'm going to meet it head on. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to fight. I'm stubborn. And luckily, I'm pretty tough. So hopefully it goes well. Curious to see how chemo is going to, affect me. Everybody is affected different. So really curious to get that started. And going to end the video, I guess. Just want to tell everybody thank you for the thoughts, prayers, everybody that's donated to the GoFundMe. I'm actually pretty damn blown away. You go through life and people care about you, and you forget sometimes how many people there are that do. And some of the people I've never met, whether it's people my dad worked with, my mom knows, people from Kelly's life that I've never met, friends that I haven't talked to in 10, 12, 15 years, have come out of the woodwork and, wished me well, made donations, all the things to help us get through this. And there's never going to be enough words for me, Kelly, the kids, to be able to repay you guys or thank you enough. Just know we're very appreciative of everything, and just keep thinking about us, and we will see you guys on the next one. I will probably do Wednesday when I get treatment.